Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ilse and I'm in great need of some book recommendations. So today we're going to be putting AI to the test and I'm going to read whatever book AI recommends to me. So I found this website where you give a little information about your reading taste and then AI will give you new books to read. So today we're going to find out if AI actually knows me and if it can give good book recommendations. So hopefully I can find my new favorite book this video. So let's start. This AI quiz will give you 10 new books to read based on your taste. So I'm really excited. Let's get started. What's your first name? Ilse. I'm not sure how they're going to base anything on that, but we'll see. What's your favorite book genre? Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna pick fantasy for sure. Romance. I really like nonfiction, but I'm not really in the mood for any nonfiction right now, so I'm not gonna select it. Ooh, I'm really in the mood for some mystery. Let's pick that one. Next question. Tell us the title of the last book you loved. I think the last book I really rated highly was Steppenwolf. So I'm gonna put Steppenwolf by Herman Hesse. Are they actually gonna use this book to find me new recommendations? That would be really advanced. Do you prefer long reads or short books? I like both, so I'm gonna put I don't mind. Do you like classic or contemporary fiction? I think I'm gonna put both, but I prefer classic. When reading, you care most about? I think I will put dialogue. What age range would you like to read? I've been reading a lot of young adult recently, and I kind of want something else, so I'm gonna put adult and universal maybe. Pick a movie based on a book. Wow, these are great options. I think I have to choose Harry Potter, don't I? I think I have to choose Harry Potter. Next question. What's your least favorite quality in a book? I think I'm gonna go with clipped and simple language. Okay, let's click it. I'm really interested to see if AI can actually give me a good recommendation, because that would be such a life changer if I can just find 5-star books because of AI. Let's open up my reading recommendations. I immediately see Jane Austen. I love Jane Austen, so that's a great recommendation. However, it's Pride and Prejudice, and I've read Pride and Prejudice, so I'm not gonna read that for this video. Second one, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I actually think I'm gonna read that book very soon. I think the book club is reading that book. I do believe it's over 1,000 pages, so it would be a little too long for this video. Then we have The Name of the Rose. I think that's a very popular book. We have The Night Circus. Oh, my friend is gonna be so happy. She's been recommending me this book for so long. I think it's her favorite book. I kind of have to read this book now, don't I? Okay, I kind of have to read The Night Circus now. I've been hearing so much about it. It's a fantasy romance, mysterious circus, and magical competition. That sounds amazing. Then we have Rebecca. Rebecca has actually been on my TBR for so long. Psychological thriller, eerie mansion. That sounds like exactly what I need. So that's a really good recommendation. Then we have The Shadow of the Wind. Okay. The Bone Clocks by David Mitchell. I've been wanting to read more David Mitchell. Then we have The 13th Tale, which I've never heard of, but it says in the synopsis gothic atmosphere, which if you know me, you know I love gothic books. So this actually might be a really good book recommendation. I'm seeing psychological thriller, gothic atmosphere, mystery. This actually might be a really good recommendations list. Next we have And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. Interesting. I've read a couple of Agatha Christie's, but I haven't read this one, so maybe this is my sign. And lastly, we have Wuthering Heights, which I read and I loved. So the books I read on this list, I've actually loved. So that's a good sign, I think. I have to say, this is going way better than I thought. I actually have high expectations for this list. We're going to pick some books to read for this video. I think, as I said, I have to do The Night Circus. So many people I know have read this and loved it. So I think I really want to read this one. And I actually do really want to read Rebecca. But I know it's quite a long book. I think it's around 500 pages. So that might be a little long. I really want to read And Then There Were None as well. But I actually don't own any of these books. So I think we're going to need to go to the library and we'll see what they have. Hi, it took a little, but I'm happy to report that I've collected the books that AI recommended to me. First, I went to the library and I saw that they had Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier in this beautiful edition. It's a Virago modern classic and I think it looks gorgeous. Rebecca is kind of hard to read, but I love the flowers and I love the gold. I'm really excited to read this one. So Rebecca is about this young woman who falls in love with an older man, and then without knowing him, she marries him and she moves into his estate, and there she gets haunted by his first wife, Rebecca. So it's kind of a gothic, eerie story, which I absolutely love, and I'm really in the mood for fall and rainy days, and I think this book is going to go perfectly with that. So I'm really excited to pick up Rebecca. I've heard amazing things about Daphne du Maurier's writing and her storyline, and I think I'm gonna love it. I did see that it's over 400 pages, so it's quite a big book. So we're gonna have to see how fast I can read this in this video. Then the other books I couldn't find in the library, so I actually bought this copy of The Night Circus and I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. I believe everyone and their mother on BookTube have read this book, and I've seen so many 5-star and 4-star reviews, so I'm really excited to pick this one up. As I said, I've heard so many great things. This book has been hyped up so much that I can't believe I'm finally reading it right now. So if you don't know, The Night Circus is about two magicians at a circus, and they are competing with each other. Now, I believe this book focuses more on the atmosphere and the aesthetic of the circus, and it also includes you as the reader. So it really gives you an experience as if you were there at the circus, as well as telling the stories of these two magicians. I've heard so many great things about Erin Morgenstern as a writer. There are so many people who love her writing style that I am really excited to see what the hype is all about. And lastly, I also want to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. However, they did not have any Agatha Christie books at the library, so I'm going to read the audiobook of And Then There Were None. So those are the 3 books I am going to read for this video. I think I'm going to start with The Night Circus actually, because I'm really excited for this one. I'm actually thinking of making this a spoiler reading vlog, because I think so many people have read this book already that it's not really a secret anymore what happens. If I will include any spoilers, I will clearly show you, and I will show you where to skip to if you want to avoid these spoilers. So I'm going to start with The Night Circus now, and I'll let you know once I have an update. Hi, I'm about 340 pages through and I'm really enjoying this book. It's so good. I love the circus. I love the world that she has created within this book. It feels so magical. It feels so real. I think it was such a smart idea to have the chapters from different point of views. We have one perspective from the workers of the circus, and then another perspective from the visitors of the circus, and then there's also small chapters of you as the reader visiting the circus. And I just love these different perspectives, and it really makes the world feel real and it makes it come to life. And I think that's what makes this book so strong. You can really picture the circus, you can really feel what it's like to be there, and you can feel the excitement and the magic all around you. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I think it's so good, and I'm really happy that I'm reading it right now. This is a very magical book and it's giving me all the fall vibes. The dates also say October, which is almost here now, and I'm just really excited for fall. So I'm really happy to be reading this. I understand the hype now. I do think it's interesting that we get so many different characters. I was expecting to only read about Celia and Marco because those are the only characters introduced on the back, but we get so many different characters and so many storylines and perspectives, and it's so fun to see. I'm also wearing my black with a touch of red because I just love this book so much. I really enjoy the writing in the whole book. There's definitely been a lot of thought put into these sentences, a lot of recurring patterns, a lot of foreshadowing, which I really enjoy. I think I also filled in the AI quiz that I like meaningful sentences and meaningful dialogue, and this book definitely has that. I'm flying through this book, as you can see, and yeah, I'm loving it. So I kind of want to give you more of my thoughts on the details, on the relationships in this book, but I think that counts as a spoiler, so I'm gonna warn you now, there are gonna be spoilers in the next section. I will put a time on the screen to which you can skip if you don't want to hear these spoilers. So you now have the time to skip this part if you want. Okay, are you still here? Yeah, I really want to talk about Celia and Marco's relationship because I find it so interesting. Okay, my storage was full, but I'm back, and I really wanted to talk about Marco and Celia's relationship because every time they're on the page, there's just this chemistry and romance, and I get goosebumps every time. It's so beautifully written. It's a very interesting relationship because there's this constant tension. At first, they didn't know who each other were, and then there's this tension of the competition because one of them is supposed to win over the other. I think their relationship is very romantic. However, I have so many questions. There are so many things that I just don't understand, and I kind of want to talk about it. Okay, so Marco and Celia both got a ring when they were a child that binds them to the duel, that binds them to the competition. But the ring is also placed on their ring finger, which kind of indicates a arranged marriage. So the ring kind of implies that they're supposed to be together, but it's never, I don't think it's ever stated that they need to be together because they actually need to duel each other and one of them needs to die even. So it's not like they are like meant to end up together. However, the ring is placed on their ring finger, so it's kind of implied, right? Then when they meet, there's this immediate chemistry and they fall in love and they act very romantic with each other. Marco especially is very flirtatious, and that is just something I don't really understand because Marco and Celia both have been trained since they were a child to compete against each other, and I would say they've had some very traumatic experiences. They had to train in a very horrible way in order to become greater and better than the other person. So if I had been training since childhood in a very traumatic way in order to win this competition, and I would finally meet my competitor, I would just be a little bit more competitive, I would say. I would just be a little bit more hostile towards them and less friendly. There's immediately a chemistry and a romance going on, and at first I was like, oh, this makes sense because they're like meant for each other because of the rings. But if they actually knew like I'm supposed to end up with the other person, like when they met each other they would be like, okay, you're my soulmate, I'm supposed to be with you, that's why they fell in love so easily, then I don't understand why Marco would have a relationship with Isabel. Because if you know that your soulmate is there and you're gonna meet them, why would you find another relationship, right? But then I don't understand why you're being so nice and flirtatious towards your competitor, towards your enemy, right? So I have a feeling right now that it actually is like a more elaborate plan, and that one of them or both are not telling me, the reader, as much as they actually have planned in their minds, and that their romance is kind of more like a plan to win this competition instead of actual romance. But then I think Marco confessed to Alexander that he is actually in love with Celia. So then it's like, okay, he is actually in love. It's not a scheme. I'm quite unsure if it is a scheme or not. If you've been trained since childhood to hate someone and to need to win from someone, like you've went to all the trauma and the pain in order to become better, to beat this person, then how could you fall in love so easily? Maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't understand that. Their relationship is definitely more than what meets the eye, and that's very interesting, and I really enjoy it. Speaking of Isabel though, Isabel is such an amazing character. We don't know much about her, but she's so nice to everyone. She's nice to Marco, she's nice to Celia, she's nice to Bailey, and I hate seeing her getting treated like this. I would love if she would get a more interesting story. I have about 140 pages to go, so I hope that her storyline develops at least a little bit and that she can find someone who will treat her right instead of how she's being treated by Marco right now, because she doesn't deserve that. She is so nice. I also love Bailey's storyline and the twins. Their friendship is just so beautiful. I've seen some kind of foreshadowing that something bad is going to happen to Bailey, so I really hope it won't be too bad. I love that Isabel has this tarot deck that gives these premonitions and kind of predictions of what is going to happen. It makes the book so interesting, and it adds another layer that you're like looking for clues. I really like that. Let's see, what else? Yeah, the group of people who started the circus, I think they're a very intriguing group. I kind of get this evil, villainous feeling when I read about them. Like they're having these secret meetups and they're hosting these like exclusive dinners, and they kind of give off this very villainous, evil energy. But when I think about it, they didn't really do anything wrong. They made the circus, they created the circus because they wanted to make people happy. They didn't even do it for the money because they have enough money. They just feel very evil, but they didn't do anything wrong, so I don't know where that feeling comes from. I'm really interested to see what is going to happen with them. They of course start to notice that they don't age, and they start to notice other weird things. They start to feel bad about the circus, which is kind of sad because this circus is supposed to be such a place of beauty and happiness and magic, and they start to feel bad because of it. Okay, so I think that's the end of the spoilers for now. I do feel like there are a lot of loose ends left that still need some sort of explanation. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. I'll probably update you when I finish this book. I'm thinking of finishing it today, so I guess I'll see you when I finish the book, and I'll let you know what I think of the ending. I just finished The Night Circus. Wow, this was an amazing book. It was great, it was magical, and I really enjoyed reading this book. As I said before, I love that the chapters were really short and that we had multiple POVs. It was still very interesting because each story was split up into multiple parts, and when a POV ended, you just wanted to keep reading, you just wanted to know what was going to happen. So a lot of the chapters ended in a cliffhanger and you really wanted to keep reading, and it really complements the circus aspect of it because it's all very mysterious and you really want to know what's behind it. That also felt the same way when reading the chapters. You really wanted to know what happens next, but because the chapters are so short, you're kind of left in the dark. You really don't know what's going on, and a lot of it is not revealed until the end. I also loved that we had so many characters that was not just focused on Celia and Marco. I think this book is just very well done overall. I love the setting of the circus. I'm still debating whether I like the ending or not, but it's gonna get at least 4 stars, maybe 4.5. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you read this book. I think this is a great recommendation by AI. I'm very excited for the next reads. I think I'm going to continue with And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie because I really need to clean here. So I'm just gonna put on the audiobook on my headphones and I'm going to clean, and maybe I'm going for a walk later and I can just listen to the audiobook. I think that will be a very nice change from reading physically. I hope And Then There Were None is great. I actually saw The Mousetrap by Agatha Christie in theaters last year. And I love that so much. So I'm really excited to read another Agatha Christie. So I'm going to be listening to And Then There Were None now, and I'll catch you when I have an update. Murders have occurred. Many murders, actually. Is that a spoiler? No, I don't think so. I think it's to be expected from an Agatha Christie novel that people get killed. I've read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, and this book is actually quite unique. Well, actually, now that I think about it, the book is actually quite similar to The Mousetrap. So you have this group of people who get trapped in this location. They cannot leave. Then there's a song that predicts how everyone is gonna die, and all the people who are there are being punished for something they did. That is basically the same as The Mousetrap. I really enjoyed And Then There Were None though. It was very mysterious, very fun. I thought the song was quite spooky. So the book features a song about 10 soldier boys getting killed, and all the people there on the island, they see the song and they're like, oh yeah, this is this nostalgic song from my childhood. I love that song. And I'm like, it's a song about 10 guys getting killed and that's your like childhood memory. Okay. It was very strange. The song is definitely supposed to be like scary. I thought this was one of the more straightforward books by Agatha Christie because the song tells you how the people are gonna die. So you kind of knew what was coming. Of course, you don't know who done it and why, but you knew how the next person was going to die. Nonetheless, it was very fun and surprising and mysterious. So in this book, we have a broad cast of characters. They're all very suspicious and they get invited to come to Soldier Island by someone they don't know. And then this song starts playing and then people start dropping dead and we don't know who did it and why. I think I will give the story 4 stars or 3.5. I really enjoyed it, but I do think there are definitely better Agatha Christie books out there. I did love it and I would definitely read something like this. So I think, again, it was a great recommendation by AI. So now we're going to move on to the third and last book of this video, which is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. The only thing I know about it is that Rebecca is this first wife of a guy, what is he called? Mr. De Winter was married to Rebecca and she passes away and he finds a new wife. But now the new wife is haunted by the first wife. So this book is definitely gothic, which is one of my favorite genres. So I think that was a great recommendation and I have high hopes for this. I'm actually really excited to read this. It's quite a big book as well, but I'm really excited for it. It has gothic, it has spooky vibes. I'm really in the mood for October and fall. So I'm gonna get started with this book now. I will tell you more about it once I know more. But the first 2 recommendations by AI have been great. So I have really high hopes for this one. So let's get started. This book, you guys, oh my god, I'm so happy. I only read a couple of chapters, but I'm feeling that it's gonna be a 5-star read. I don't want to get my hopes up too much, but I'm enjoying it so much. I love the writing. It's so dark and beautiful and I can't wait to read more. I have now finished Rebecca and I absolutely loved it. This was such an amazing book, very intriguing, very mysterious, and I loved it so much. So I will tell you a little bit about it. So Rebecca actually follows an unnamed protagonist who meets a man who's a lot older than her, and he has recently lost his wife Rebecca. Now he asks her to marry him and she says yes, and they move to his beautiful big estate, which is called Manderley. Now Manderley is the primary location of this book, and it is a beautiful gothic mansion, and I love gothic books. I love the gothic aesthetic, and Manderley just perfectly fits in that aesthetic. Manderley is this big beautiful building in the middle of the forest with a lot of plants around it, and du Maurier writes beautifully about this nature, and the nature actually plays a role in the book as well. It's very, very well done. But as soon as our protagonist goes there, she notices that the place is being haunted. I don't think any of the characters in this book are likable. You definitely sympathize with them at some point, but then that quickly gets swept away because of something they do or say. I think they're all very insufferable characters. To create a book with such insufferable characters but still such a cohesive and well done story is so well done. There's a lot of symbolism that shows that Rebecca is still there even though she's dead. One of the things being that our main character is never named, and this book is called Rebecca, so the person you'll remember is Rebecca even though she's dead, and our main character is still alive. This book first shows the stark differences between our main character and Rebecca, but then it also kind of mirrors them and shows us how, even though they're very different, they also have a lot of things in common, and I think that was very interesting. I would rate this book 5 stars. I loved it a lot. I flew through this book. It's such a quick read. The language is very accessible. Even though it was published almost 100 years ago, the language is very accessible, very fun to read, and I really enjoyed it. So I would rate this book 5 stars, and I think it was a very, very good recommendation for me. I can't wait to read other books by Daphne du Maurier because I just love her writing style, and the topics in this book were so interesting and intriguing and mysterious, and yeah, I would highly recommend you read this book. So in this video I read The Night Circus, which I gave 4 stars and I absolutely loved. Then I read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I rated 3.5 stars. And lastly I read Rebecca, which I gave 5 stars. So I think we can say that AI gives pretty good book recommendations. I read 3 books of the list of 10 recommendations, and all of these books have been such an enjoyable experience. I even found a 5-star read. The Night Circus was amazing as well, and I'm really happy that I picked it up. I'm actually really surprised. In the beginning I didn't expect AI to know me that well. I guess I did give a lot of information about my reading taste, but it was only a couple of questions. I didn't expect such good recommendations to come from that. So I'm really happy that I read these books and that I even found a new favorite one. So I would say that AI can give pretty good book recommendations. If you would like me to try more book recommendations by AI or any of the other books on the list that AI recommended to me, then please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!